Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to 321 No Kiddin. Bobby the Awesome here. I think it's Friday. Yeah, happy Friday. I'm running so flippin' late. I slept until after 10 this morning, which is not my normal gig. Now, I'll give myself some grace because I was up a bit in the middle of the night, but still, that's crazy. My body must be telling me something, huh? Okay. Yeah, it's been still such a wonky week, and I'm trying to get back on my feet. I'm trying to get stuff done. I have a Friendsgiving to go to tomorrow, and my COVID test results are not back, which is a lesson in accepting the things we cannot change. I mean, Monday was the earliest I could get it done, and it says 3 to 5 days for results. I don't have the results. I do not want to go and put people at risk, although I still don't think that I have it. But geez, I have some choices, and I bring this up because, we're going into the weekend. I'm trying to not have my attitude on and get frustrated with things that I'm powerless over, such as getting these results in the time frame that I feel I should get them in. So I'm just kind of downloading that to you because you know that I feel like sometimes just talking gets things processed in my brain, and I want to teach you how to process too. And that's one of the ways. So I am going to let that go for now. I either am supposed to be at that party or I'm not, right? That's essentially what it comes down to. Why I'm frustrated about it is because it's part of my recovery community and I really want to see them, but I just have to pay the price for going on my adventure, I guess. Okay, let's see what our reading is for today. November 6th. The first act of bad faith consists of evading what one cannot evade, of evading what one is. What the hell does evade mean? And John Paul Sartre says that. Let's see if the reading shares any clarity. Otherwise, I'll look it up for us. When did we learn to pretend to be other than we were? When did we learn this one's a mouthful. When did we learn that what or who we were wasn't good enough? That we could never do or say or be enough? We learned in childhood, as did our parents and their parents as well, wearing a mask was a habit that evolved into becoming that mask while our real selves disappeared. In many ways, our real selves are still untested. But unlike the old days when they'd emerge only under pressure, we now try our real selves on like new clothes. First in a locked room when no one's looking, later in the open air, and finally with other people. Being who we are is scary and awkward and strange at first, but it is an act of faith, one that builds upon the next act. These acts of faith are the process that is our recovery. Today, help me show my real face, if only for a moment. Okay, wow. The mask concept, I know in this day and age, is a little ironic, but this is what I think I'm hearing in this. And this is something that as I ramp up for 2021 and all the things that I need to challenge myself to do, as well as reflect back on 2020, that's probably one of my biggest shifts was taking my mask off or losing it. Because it says here, wearing a mask was a habit that evolved into becoming that mask while our real selves disappeared. And when we're gambling, that's essentially what it is, right? We have our mask on, or we are our mask, and we're not ourselves. We're in that, I know I told you yesterday I don't like this word, but we're in that addict mode, and that's the mask we're wearing. It's not that we're bad people, right? We're not people who were children who go, I want to grow up to be an addict. I want to, hide behind everything and not know my true feelings and not know how to cope with life other than pissing away my money and my relationships and my life and drowning my sorrows or whatever all those things look like. Nobody aspires to do that. And I don't think we know that we're doing this as we do it. I think this probably stems from, and as I look back, I'll speak just to me. My mask probably started forming when I was a teenager. That's when I don't want to say trauma. Trauma is such a tough word, but that's when the things started. The people that I cared about were dying. The whole parents splitting, losing the stepfather figure that I had in middle school and into high school. That's when all that stuff was happening. And I think that for me, my mask was, I'm going to not care and love people the way I would have, like a child would, in that unconditional, fulfilling way, because they're going to leave, whether it's through death or jail or just in general leave. So I think for me, that's kind of how mine evolved. I think that the first time I really started taking the mask off has been through the last few years. And I think that that's why I appreciate that guy so much, that I finally started. Now, granted, it wasn't all his doing, don't get me wrong, but that was a place where I felt safe. And of course, I didn't have gambling to hide behind, but that's where I started taking off my mask. And that starts a whole other journey, right? Like, who are we under there? It was a 30-year difference between who I started out to be and then who I ended up being after 30 years of gambling. And it was a lot of self-discovery, and some of it was through his lens and some of it was through mine, and some of it was through my peers in recovery and the people in my life that were seeing me try to take off my mask, although I didn't know that's what was happening in the process. And then this last year, when I have now no gambling and no drinking, because I think that the drinking still helped me hide a little, for sure. Yeah, it definitely was another version of a mask. But with that gone, now all I'm left with all I'm left with is myself. And that's crazy. And that's where the real growth and change and finding out who I am and who I want to be comes from, is from dealing with myself and sorting through that. And it came from the people I interacted with. It came from the pain of the breakup and all the loss this year. It came from just sitting with myself for all these months, and sitting with you actually, and sorting out, who do I want to be? Well, I know who I don't want to be. I don't want to be a gambling addict. I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to be someone who's controlled by bosses. I don't want to be who other people want me to be. I want to be happy and fulfilled. And we talked about being happy. And I can't believe I didn't start singing, I hope you're happy during that episode yesterday. Because it's like truly what my wish is for myself and for all of you. So as you listen to this show today, ask yourself, are you still wearing masks? Is it the masks that are what's kind of holding you back from being your authentic self and from finding your true joy? Because here's the thing, guys, I don't want to gamble. Like, I have no interest in it, aside from I miss a little socialization part of it, whatever. And depending on who was listening, they may say I'm rationalizing it or whatever, and that's fine. I definitely miss some of the fun parts of it, like a normal gambler would have, like going to bingo or whatever. But I don't need it to not deal with my life. I don't need it as my mask anymore. And what I'm finding is there's this whole crazy ass beautiful world out there that now I get to enjoy on such a different level. Like I this is going to sound silly, but animals. I've always loved animals. And just my connection, when I was down in Florida, for example, I was at someone's house and they had this, I'll call it the third dog, who was known for nipping at people and being a little bit bratty. And within an hour or so, that little guy was on my lap and we were best friends. And because I feel safe with myself and I'm connected, I feel like I can even connect to animals better or appreciate them more. I know it, like I said, it may sound silly. And I think this is coming up because last night we were watching some of the videos from Asia and me talking to the elephants and hanging out with them. And I kind of don't feel fear when it comes to animals unless they're snakes and spiders. But fun animals and furry animals, I love and enjoy and feel connected to and maybe dangerously so. But I want to get closer than I should in some cases. But anyway, I think that even the animals know that, hey, there's this chick that's not hiding behind anything. She's pretty harmless and we can hang out with her. She's exhibiting just endless unconditional love towards me and everything around her. And that's who I want to be. I don't want to be afraid that I'm going to lose people. Instead, I'm going to approach it as I'm going to value and treasure every moment that I have with people in my life now. In many ways, our real selves are still unrested, but unlike the old days when they'd emerge only under pressure, we now try our real selves on like new clothes. First in a locked room when no one's looking, later in the air, and finally with other people. And when I talk about showing up for other people, this is kind of what I'm talking about, is showing up as your true self. Not just like giving for other people, but being you. And it kind of goes into the boundary piece, right? Like if you show up as your real self and it's not working, chances are those people don't belong in your life. Because if you don't want to put the mask back on, and no one should have that power over you. No one. And I know that could be difficult, and that could be difficult with spouses or people we're in relationships with, or even parents and children having that dynamic. We shouldn't have to hide. We shouldn't have to not be ourselves. Now, I'm not saying we should do this to the extreme where we hurt other people. There's ways to do it being loving and kind and generous, and it's okay to maybe not align with everyone from a value perspective. But I'm saying be true to you. Don't just conform, because conforming is essentially that mask. And again, it takes work to navigate that. I'm still working on it. There's definitely people in my life that I would say I handle versus just being me. Just being me is someone who doesn't want to argue over small stuff anymore, right? So if people have things that are really important to them, I just don't engage in that. Now, that's part of my true self. That's not hiding, because I'll express myself, and you've seen me do it many times here. Okay, this happened, and I don't necessarily battle with the people I'm disagreeing with or the obstacles that are in front of me when it comes to people. I don't necessarily do that. But if I have a different opinion, I come on here and I share my opinion, because that's my true self and that's the way I feel. But I don't need to make someone else hurt or generate all kinds of angst around topics. And I don't know if this is a hot button right now, and I'm thinking about it because of all the political junk going on. But it's relevant in regular everyday life too. I find myself doing it with one of my friends, not about politics, but about work. How we show up for work and our values at work is another place that I don't necessarily agree with everyone. So what did I do? I don't work with people anymore. Like in that context, now I get to run our companies the way that align with my values, and by doing that, it takes away the fear because I know I'm being true to me. And because of my belief system that everything's going to be okay because I know I do the work and I know what I'm capable of, I don't even have to be scared of any repercussions with that. And guys, it's the most freeing freaking thing in the world when you don't have a mask on. I mean, just think about it in the context of COVID even. When you have to put your mask on to go to the store or to go in public or whatever. But then when you get in the car and you get to take that mask off and you're like, you get to breathe. I want everybody to breathe. We deserve to breathe. Life's too short not to breathe. So stop hiding. Start really looking at if you are hiding behind the mask. And like I said, you could be not gambling and still have a mask on, right? Like I said, I think maybe alcohol was one of mine. Sometimes I'm trying to think of other attributes that might be a mask. It could be anger and argumentative. Do you really want to be angry all the time? You want to be hating on people? I don't think anybody wants to live that way, but I think it's their masks. And I challenge you today and every day to be aware of that. Are you hiding? Are you being true to yourself? Think about it. It kind of ties into, are we happy? When we did the, are we truly, genuinely happy exercise this week? What are 5 things that make you happy? Freedom and independence and nature make me happy. What makes you happy? Because I hope you're happy. I love that. I love that song. I love that man. I love that group. That'll never go away. Sorry. So that's what I will leave you with is I hope you're happy, of course, and start working on taking that mask off if you still have it on. And I'd imagine that if you're listening, you still have it on. I'm sure I still have it on in some cases that I haven't figured out yet because I don't know what I don't know. But that's kind of the fun of going on this journey together, right? Today, help me show my real face, if only for a moment. Make it start as small as a moment. You can do it. All right, beautiful people. Have a fabulous weekend.